Welcome, everyone. The June 10th, 2025 meeting of the Monroe County Legislature will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Barnhart. Ms. Barnhart is present. Ms. Bartholomew McCoy is excused. Mr. Baynes. Mr. Baynes is present. Mr. Blankley. Mr. Blankley is present. Ms. Bonnick. Mr. Brew. Here. Mr. Brew is present. Mr. Burgess. Here. Mr. Burgess is present. Mr. Chardy. Mr. Chardy is present. Mr. Colby. Here. Mr. Colby is present. Mr. Cruz is excused. Ms. Delvecchio Hoffman. Ms. Delvecchio Hoffman is present. Mrs. DiFlorio. Here. Mrs. DiFlorio is present. Mr. Dondorfer. Mr. Dondorfer is present. Mr. Frazier. Here. Mr. Frazier is present. Ms. Hasman. Here. Ms. Hasman is present. Ms. Hughes-Smith. Here. Ms. Hughes-Smith is present. Mr. Johns. Mr. Johns is present. Mr. Keller. Mr. Keller is present. Mr. Long. Here. Mr. Long is present. Mr. Maffucci. Here. Mr. Maffucci is present. Mr. McCabe. Mr. McCabe is present. Ms. McIntyre. Here. Ms. McIntyre is present. Mr. Milne. Here. Mr. Milne is present. Mr. Morris. Here. Mr. Morris is present. President Román.
Here.
President Román is present. Mr. Sinclair. Here. Mr. Sinclair is present. Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith is present. Ms. Vasquez Simmons. Ms. Vasquez Simmons is present. Mr. Yulson. Mr. Yulson is present. And Ms. Bonnick. Yeah. Ms. Bonnick is present.
Thank you. Please stay seated. I'd like to introduce Father Angelo Magos of Annunciation Greek Orthodox Church, who has been invited by Legislator Keller to lead us in a moment of prayer. Please come up.
Again, thank you, everybody, for this opportunity. Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, in peace we come before you and implore your majesty and your infinite goodness. Look down upon this gathering of the leadership of the Monroe County Legislators and grant to them an illumined heart and mind as they strive to serve their fellow citizens through their office. Grant unto President Román, the advisors, counselors, and legislators the wisdom, grace, and spirit of God-inspired service, that they may embrace the needs of all the residents of the city of Rochester and Monroe County. Grant also unto these legislators a powerful recognition of their destiny and purpose, that they may bear witness to the Lord our God, who has shielded this great country through the centuries and drives us to a more perfect union with one another, building upon those pioneers who have gone before us. Finally, we ask that you preserve, protect, and defend the brave men and women of our police force, firefighters, and emergency responders who daily safeguard our freedoms, so that in prosperity and tranquility, we can worship you, the Creator, the Redeemer, and the Sanctifier of the universe, who blesses all the people of God. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father Magos. On behalf of the Legislature, I'd like to present you with this certificate for your participation tonight.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, please stand as Legislator Milne will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Please remain standing. At this time, without objection, we will take agenda item number 47 out of the regular agenda order. Agenda item number 47 is moved by Legislator Udelson and seconded by Legislator Brew, expressing our regret of the Monroe County Legislature on the recent passing of Victor Saunders, longtime youth and anti-violence advocate and friend to many legislators, including myself, as we work together at the Center for Youth, and my sister grew up with your family. We are really sorry for the passing of a giant. Mr. Clerk.
Expressing regret of the Monroe County Legislature on the recent passing of Victor Saunders. Be it resolved that the Monroe County Executive and Legislature hereby expresses its deepest sympathy at the recent passing of Victor Saunders. And whereas Victor Saunders dedicated himself to the city of Rochester with unwavering commitment to violence prevention and youth advocacy for more than 3 decades. And whereas Victor passed away on May 8, 2025 at the age of 59, following a courageous battle with prostate cancer, leaving behind a profound legacy of leadership, mentorship, and compassion. And whereas Victor was raised in Rochester, graduated from Bishop Kearney High School, overcame personal struggles in his early adulthood, and returned to serve the very community he once walked through in hardship. And whereas Victor was an advocate who was known to always put the youth first. During his time at the Center for Youth, he worked with Roberto Clemente School Number 8 to bring an innovative and restorative approach to crisis prevention through his implementation of the cool down zone. And whereas Victor was instrumental in founding and expanding the Pathways to Peace program, advising youth and supporting community organizations, and serving most recently as the mayor's advisor on violence prevention. And whereas his work included launching the Rochester Peace Collective, overseeing school-based intervention initiatives, and championing programs to engage former gang members as credible messengers in their communities. And whereas Victor's influence was always deeply personal, as he offered support, guidance, and love to countless individuals. Whereas he believed in meeting people where they are, whether standing beside the mayor in a suit or cooking at community peace barbecue, always showing up with humility and strength. And whereas Mayor Malik Evans described him as a trusted advisor and friend whose life embodied the hymn, "May the works I've done speak for me." And whereas he is survived by his wife, Sharon Saunders, children Victor II and Betty, mother Claudia Brown, and a city forever shaped by his example. Be it further resolved that the clerk of the legislature is hereby requested to forward a copy of this resolution to the bereaved family. This resolution was adopted unanimously with each legislator rising in his or her place for a moment of silence.
Thank you. Did you want to say something? No? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Your copies of Day 5, May 13th, is available through Novus Agenda. Without exception, this journey will stand approved as submitted. Legislators, the referrals submitted to the legislature for the next committee cycle are available on Novus Agenda as well as online. There are several proclamations scheduled for this evening. Mr. Clerk.
Would members of the Odyssey of the Mind program please come forward? Also, President Yversha Román and Legislator Rick Milne.
Oh.
Whereas the Odyssey of the Mind program, begun in 1978, is the largest international creative problem-solving competition, encouraging students to apply science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics in imaginative and collaborative ways. And whereas the iPad Rehab Microsoldering team, based in Honeyway Falls, has participated in the Odyssey of the Mind program together since 2nd grade, consistently demonstrating outstanding teamwork, innovation, and perseverance. In the 2025 season, the team worked on Problem 1 vehicle. For this, they designed and constructed a chain-driven, battery-powered vehicle from salvaged appliances, alongside a themed performance entitled Cookie Cadets, featuring handmade costumes, recycled scenery, and intricate props, all created independently in accordance with the program's signature no outside assistance rules. And whereas, competing in Problem 1 Division 2, the team earned a perfect score of 350 points at the Region 14 competition that includes Monroe County, and went on to capture the New York State Championship in April with an exceptional score of 349.26, rising above 16 of the top regional teams from across the state. And whereas at the 2025 Odyssey of the Mind World Finals held at Michigan State University, the iPad Rehab Microsoldering team achieved a remarkable second-place global finish and was crowned United States national champion, besting all other American teams in their division and proudly representing our community on the world stage with an impressive score of 323.14 points. And now, therefore, we, Yversha Román, President, and Richard B. Milne, Legislator, District 5, on behalf of the entire Monroe County Legislature, do hereby honor and congratulate the iPad Rehab Micro-Soldering Odyssey of the Mind team in recognition of winning the 2025 New York State and United States Problem 1 Division 2 championships.
I'd like to take a moment to thank the Monroe County Legislators, Mayor Milne, and all parents and coaches who helped make tonight possible. And this is such an honor, and I'm sure the rest of my team feels the same. Thank you.
Would Haley Wynn please come forward? Also, President Yversha Román and legislators Frank Chardy and Tom Sinclair.
Whereas Monroe County takes immense pride in recognizing its residents who represent the very best in athleticism, leadership, and national pride. And Haley Wynn, a Bishop Kearney graduate and standout defender, has once again brought honor to our community and country by helping lead Team USA to gold at the 2025 International Ice Hockey Federation Women's World Championship. And whereas Haley's path to success has been marked by hard work and perseverance, having recently completed an impressive collegiate career at Clarkson University, where she skated in 151 games and tallied 37 goals and 94 assists. Her skill on the ice earned multiple All-American recognitions, along with being named ECAC Player of the Year. These impressive achievements cemented her legacy as one of the program's all-time greats. And whereas Haley's international resume is equally distinguished, including representing Team USA in 3 IIHF Women's World Championships, 3 rivalry series matchups against Canada, 2 U18 World Championships, and 4 select team appearances. Haley has consistently demonstrated world-class talent, poise under pressure, and a tireless commitment to representing her country at the highest level. And whereas in the 2025 International Ice Hockey Federation Women's World Championship Tournament, Haley contributed 3 assists and displayed outstanding defensive play, culminating in a thrilling 4-3 overtime victory against Canada to secure the gold medal for the United States, marking her second IIHF Women's World Championship gold. And now, therefore, we, Yversha Román, President, Frank Chardy, Legislator, District 15, and Tom Sinclair, Legislator, District 19, on behalf of the entire Monroe County Legislature, do hereby honor and congratulate Haley Wynn in recognition of winning the 2025 IIHF Women's Ice Hockey Championship as a part of her great career.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's obviously such an honor to be here. It's always an honor to represent your country and your city. And it's just a super exciting time for women's sports right now. So I'm really grateful to be a part of it, and I'm super excited for the future. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Would Kevin Beckford please come forward? Also, County Executive Adam J. Bello, President Yversha Román, legislators Howard Maffucci, Rose Bonnick, and William Burgess. And Ricky Frazier.
Oh, man. The Monroe County Legislature recognizes. They don't. Oh, we'll give them a second. The Monroe County Legislature recognizes Kevin Spencer Beckford. Whereas it is the sense of the legislature to honor and celebrate the people and organizations which make Monroe County a better place to live. And whereas attendant to such concern, the legislature is justly proud to honor Kevin Spencer Beckford, a distinguished strategic operations executive, transformational leader, and change agent with a remarkable career spanning the corporate, nonprofit, higher education, and technology sectors. And whereas Kevin has been a tireless advocate for social justice in his community, serving as the first African-American elected to the Pittsford Town Board in its more than 200-year history, breaking barriers and paving the way for future leaders of color. And whereas, as the co-founder of the Rochester Anti-Racism Coalition, Kevin has worked to create and implement strategies to dismantle systemic racism. And whereas Kevin also founded the Pittsford Martin Luther King Living the Dream series, a community initiative which celebrates the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., while advancing discussions on racial justice, inclusion, and a collective action for change. And whereas Kevin's commitment to equity and inclusion is reflected in his active involvement with several community and advocacy organizations, including the Levine Center to End Hate, Empire Justice Center, and the Anti-Racism Curriculum Project, all of which contribute to the ongoing fight for racial equity and human rights in the region. And whereas Kevin has demonstrated exceptional leadership as a servant leader and governance expert, using his platform to promote the values of compassion, justice, and inclusion in every facet of his work, both professionally and personally, while continuously advocating for social reform and community development. And whereas Kevin is an influential thought leader in the anti-racism movement and a passionate advocate for building equitable and inclusive systems in all aspects of life. Now, therefore, let it be known that we, Adam J. Bello, County Executive, Yversha Román, President, William Burgess, Deputy Majority Leader, Howard Maffucci, Legislator District 10, Lister Bartholomew McCoy, Legislator District 18, Rose Bonnick, Legislator District 27, and Ricky Frazier, Legislator District 28, do hereby honor Kevin Spencer Beckford on this 10th day of June, 2025.
Wow. First and foremost, and by the way, I was taking some pictures earlier because I have one child. Her name is Paris Beckford. You may remember her because when she was in high school, she was adventurous and ran away and was on the 7 o'clock news. She still wonders like how everybody knows who she is. I said, well, you kind of did a thing. So I want to thank my wife, Linda Marie Beckford. If you could raise your hand here, honey. We've been married for 23 years. And I'm a thoughtful, caring person in general, but I think I'm annoying to be married to. And I'll tell you why, because I'm always constantly trying to do something to make the world better. And so we could be going to the store and I go in to pick up one thing for her, and I may come out and bring someone in the car to give them a lift somewhere. And so made our daughter a little bit nervous. She's like, I think I've seen people get killed this way, you know? And so I want to thank you for being patient with me, for being very supportive of me in the time that I've been here. Both, I moved here at 18 from the Caribbean islands. I was originally from Jamaica. My whole family's from Jamaica, but my dad was an engineer and was recruited to go work for the Bahamian government. And so I grew up about 18 years in the Bahamas Islands, between Nassau, the capital of the Bahamas, and about 4 years in Freeport, Grand Bahama. And a family in Henrietta sponsored me and came here for school and a better life. I've been here for 42 years. I just turned 60. One of the things that I tried to do and have done for those 42 years is to really try to make the America that we hear about. The American dream is not an accomplishment, it's a journey. It is not someplace we've arrived at. As we know, for those of us who are marginalized, we live in the nightmare of the shadows of the dreams of others. And so it's very important that we work on making that dream a reality. So I had two choices. bemoan the fact that why did we come here? Because the dream didn't exist for me? Or do I try to make that dream a reality? So much of my life was very simple. Wherever you are, in the places and spaces you are, you use your position, your power, and your agency to make the world better. It's that simple. As big as the problem is, it's that simple. So I didn't set out to do what you just read. I can be honest with you, looking back at it now feels I'm honored to have had the opportunity and for people that gave me a chance to make a difference. But I'm a very simple person and nothing very special about me at all. I just decided to do the possibility of making the world a little bit better. And if I didn't have a life partner that supported that, it would have been a lonelier journey. And so I just want to thank you. This means more to me than you realize, because as I turn 60 in December and I look at what's happening in our country, I'm older now, but the enemy of segregation and the lack of value is as young as it was when I was 18. So I know that the work I have to do is still important, but it will not be finished before I die. But it is still important because I have a 20-year-old daughter that needs it to happen. So I'm hoping that dream of the America we talk about, each of you in this room, whether you work for the government or you're here to visit somebody that's getting a nomination tonight, this is not about politics. It's not about what you believe or don't believe or your faith. It's really about, do we want a country that is going to be a majority, minority democracy? So one that values all human beings. That's what we want. That's what I want. I want to have to be free to pray to who I want to pray to. I want the freedom of that, but I don't want that in my government, because then they might decide that their religion is mine. And we all want that. We have the possibility of making the America that we can be and not accept the America that we are. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you.
Would Terrence Brown Sr. please come forward? Also, County Executive Adam J. Bello, President Yversha Román, and Legislators William Burgess and Rose Bonnick.
Monroe County Legislature recognizes steel tech fabricators. Whereas it is a sense of the legislature to honor and celebrate the people and organizations which make Monroe County a better place to live. And whereas attendant to such concern, Steel Tech Fabricators, STF, has earned a reputation for excellence, innovation, and community commitment throughout Rochester and the surrounding area. And whereas founded in 2005 by Terrence Brown Sr., his son, and a dedicated team of Caribbean Islanders, STF has grown into a highly respected structural steel and miscellaneous metals company with a strong presence across the Rochester region. And whereas STF's foundation is built on the enduring values of hard work, integrity, and community, which have driven the company to successfully complete hundreds of projects, contributing to Rochester's growth and development. And whereas under the leadership of President Terrence Brown Sr., STF has experienced significant milestones, including doubling production facilities in 2007, completing landmark projects such as a Chapel of Peace at historic Riverside Cemetery in 2010, and the LEED Silver Certified Rochester Educational Opportunity Center building in downtown Rochester in 2011. And whereas STF has demonstrated a commitment to workforce development by establishing a work-based learning partnership in 2014 with the Edison Tech Advanced Manufacturing Program, helping to prepare the next generation of skilled tradespeople. And whereas in 2015, STF was recognized as one of Rochester's top 100 fastest growing privately held companies, a testament to its sustained growth and impact on the local economy. And whereas from 2018 onward, STF continued to contribute to the community by completing Phase 2 of the Rochester City School District revitalization projects, including work at James Monroe High School and Clara Barton School. And whereas STF, under Mr. Brown's leadership, has demonstrated generosity and a commitment to education through the establishment of a scholarship with the Rochester Jamaican Organization, supporting students and fostering community growth. Now, therefore, let it be known that we, Adam J. Bello, County Executive, Yversha Román, President, William Burgess, Deputy Majority Leader, Lister Bartholomew McCoy, Legislator, District 18, and Rose Bonnick, Legislator, District 27, do hereby honor Steel Tech Fabricators on this 10th day of June, 2025. Here to accept the proclamation on behalf of the Steel Tech Fabricators is Terrence Brown, Jr.
Thank you. Thank you, guys, sir. It's truly an honor to accept this during Caribbean Heritage Month. It's a time for us to honor the rhythm, the resilience, and the richness of a people who formed nations, neighborhoods, and more skylines. That spirit lives in our company, in the hands of our ironworkers, in the pride they carry, and in the quiet strength of those who came before us. Our team is proud and diverse. I'm Jamaican, my father's Jamaican, our Lieutenant Enoch is Haitian. We have a team of incredible islanders that work with us. We are a super diverse organization. We're strong, skilled, and we stand together. The city has shaped us, and now we hope to continue to help shape it. We build with purpose, we grow with intention, and we hope to leave something permanent behind. We are truly humbled, and thank you guys so much.
Would Stephen Service please come forward? Also, County Executive Adam J. Bello, President Yversha Román, Legislators William Burgess and Rose Bonnick.
The Monroe County Legislature recognizes Alpha Graphics Rochester, whereas it is the sense of the legislature to honor and celebrate the people and organizations which make Monroe County a better place to live. And whereas attendant to such concern, Alpha Graphics Rochester, a minority-owned, service-disabled, veteran-owned small business located in the heart of the 19th Ward on Thurston Road, stands as a beacon of entrepreneurial excellence and community engagement. And whereas Stephen G. Service, president of Alpha Graphics Rochester, has dedicated over 12 years to providing businesses with effective marketing, print communication, graphic design, mailing services, signage, and technology solutions to help communicate their brand, name, and products with clarity and impact. And whereas through Alpha Graphics Rochester, Stephen champions a mission to support businesses from concept to design to production by delivering creative, ethical, and valuable marketing and communication solutions. And whereas Stephen's professional journey from a systems engineer at Xerox Corporation to an HVAC technician and ultimately to a successful business owner reflects his unwavering dedication to hard work, resilience, and forward-thinking innovation. And whereas as a U.S. Army veteran who served honorably in South Korea, Stephen embodies the values of honesty, integrity, discipline, reliability, and respect, which he consistently upholds in both his professional endeavors and personal life. And whereas Stephen actively contributes to the Rochester Jamaican organization, serving on its executive team as secretary, where he advances the organization's mission and amplifies the voice of the Jamaican community within Rochester. Now, therefore, let it be known that we, Adam J. Bello, County Executive, Yversha Román, President, William Burgess, Deputy Majority Leader, Lister Bartholomew McCoy, Legislator District 18, and Rose Bonnick, Legislator District 27, do hereby honor Alpha Graphics, Rochester, on this 10th day of June, 2025.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. To the distinguished members of the Monroe County Legislature, especially Rose Bonnick. Thank you. I am profoundly honored and deeply humbled to stand before you today and receive this proclamation, especially during Caribbean American Heritage Month. This recognition truly means a great deal to me. As a proud business owner here in Rochester, and as a committed member of the RJO, Rochester Jamaican Organization, I've always believed in the power of community, heritage, and hard work. RJO and partner Rochester West Indian Festival Organization, RWIFO, strive to foster a vibrant connection to our culture. RJO support our community here and contribute to the well-being of both Rochester and Jamaica. This proclamation is not just for me. It is a testament to the collective spirit and contribution of our entire Caribbean American community. I want to extend my deepest gratitude to my family, Carmela, Shanique, Marie, my mother, to my friends. Thank you very much. Thank you for being part of my constant journey and my growth and my experience. And to my fellow members of the Rochester Jamaican Organization, thank you. Seeing you all here today makes this moment even more special. This honor strengthens my commitment to continue working on our community and building bridges that celebrate our rich heritage. By the way, I've started working on my second proclamation. Is there a limit as to how many proclamations one can receive? Okay, well, thank you again, Monroe County Legislator, for this incredible, formal, public recognition. I truly appreciate it. Thank you. Can't forget this, right? Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Would Bob Franklin please come forward? Also, County Executive Adam J. Bello, President Yversha Román, and legislators Michael Udelson, Steve Brew, and Tracy DiFlorio.
Whereas Bob Franklin has dedicated over 2 decades of distinguished service to Monroe County, beginning his career in the summer of 2003 in the purchasing division of the finance department and steadily rising through the ranks to become deputy commissioner of the Department of Human Services, and ultimately chief financial officer in 2013. Throughout his tenure, Bob has proven himself a thoughtful advisor, a trusted colleague, and a tireless public servant, bringing a steady hand and strategic vision to each role he has held. And whereas Bob has demonstrated his unwavering commitment to employee well-being and fiscal responsibility throughout his tenure. As the chief architect of the county's budget process for more than a decade, Bob's leadership and fiscal discipline have earned widespread respect, with his last 13 budgets passed unanimously by the county legislature, a rare and commendable achievement. Under Bob's guidance, Monroe County's bond rating has improved significantly, from AA- to AA, an extraordinary financial turnaround that speaks to Bob's dedication, expertise, and prudent stewardship of taxpayer dollars. And whereas Bob is widely known as the master of budget hearings, often occupying the hot seat for hours on end and approaching each question with thoroughness, clarity, and integrity. Despite the pressures of his position, Bob has maintained a sense of humor and balance, never hesitating to address issues head-on, while also being the first to seek common ground and find solutions alongside his colleagues. And whereas Bob's impact extends beyond his professional achievements, he is a devoted husband to Linda and a proud father to Julie and Jenny, and now enjoys being a grandfather as well. His impact on Monroe County government is lasting and profound, and his legacy of excellence will continue to benefit the people of our community for years to come. Now, therefore, we, Monroe County Executive Adam J. Bello, Monroe County Legislature President Yversha Román, Majority Leader Michael Udelson, Republican Leader Steve Brew, and the members of the Monroe County Legislature do hereby proclaim June 10th, 2025 to be a day to recognize Bob Franklin for more than 2 decades of outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to the people of Monroe County.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Right. So now I wish I had made some prepared remarks, because as you said, you've kept me here pretty late some nights. I would love to return the favor. Real quick, I said a couple things that our department had this morning that I really meant. One is I absolutely love working for Monroe County. I love public service. I love working for the people, but as an employer, I think today's young folks need to take a look at county government and public service, right? Today, I sound like my father, damn kids these days. Today's kids, talk the talk of public service, and they need to walk the walk. This employer, we're large, right? 5,000 employees. You have so many opportunities to come into a job, transfer to another department to experience something new, or take promotional opportunities, and just keep growing in your career. So Monroe County is a great employer. I love it. And I think other people should wake up and smell the coffee about how good it is to be here. As much as people come up here and rant and rave and say whatever they want about government, you can really make a difference here. I don't know which job was harder, deputy commissioner at social services or finance director. But I really enjoyed them both. They were so challenging and so rewarding. Those were just awesome opportunities for me. And a quick comment about you, I'm going to say, because you mentioned budget hearings, December 2014, apparently the 2015 budget, the late Paul Haney sat right there. He was the ranking minority member, and he always had something to say, right? Well, and finance unallocated, he's like, well, what is this negative number, allowance for uncollectible accounts? Well, he didn't like that Brosephic was supposed to reimburse us for the Frontier Field lease, because they never did. Well, I figured out how to put a contra revenue account in there to zero that out. And he just said, well, you took away the last thing I can complain about. So that was probably my most celebrated accomplishment. So I hope he sees what we're doing with the bond ratings. So I'm sure he does. So just thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay. I will now recess the legislature to hold a public hearing. I now declare open the public hearing entitled Waiver of Residency Requirement for Attorneys Employed at Monroe County.
No one is registered for this public hearing this evening.
There being none, I declare this public hearing closed. The June 10th, 2025 meeting of the legislature is reconvened. There are no formal committee reports scheduled for this evening. Therefore, we'll now hold the public forum. Thank you to everyone who has signed up for the public forum. We ask that everyone maintain decorum during this time. We will not tolerate any disruptions during this meeting from the gallery. Second warning will be issued before a deputy will be asked from you from the gallery. We do have several people registered to address the legislature, Mr. Clerk.
If you require assistance, a deputy is available to assist you in approaching the lectern. I will call 3 people forward at one time. Each speaker will have 2 minutes in which to address the legislature. Please do not bring up any signs or props. Do not single out any legislators, and please conclude when the buzzer sounds. And thank you for your cooperation. The first 3 speakers are Pat Wartinger, Terrence Schnurr, and Sarge Mitchell.
Thank you. My name is Pat Bordinger, and I am from Henrietta, New York. I represent Color Your Community Green organizations, which are in every town in Monroe County and outside Monroe County. We have wanted to start composting for years. For over 2 years, we have sent a representative here once a month to reinforce composting. My town of Henrietta has won a grant to build our own compost site at our leaf and yard waste DPW site. We will be collecting our own food scraps and composting them right then. So it will all happen and provide nutritious improvements for soil, for farmers, and for gardeners. This will avoid sending food waste to the landfills. Over 40% of what the trash leaving homes is actually food waste. And that releases methane gas as it decomposes, which is 80 times more dangerous to our atmosphere than CO2. The old decommissioned sewage treatment plants would be ideal sites for composting. They are flat, fenced, far away from homes. They have a small building, water, sewage hookup. Those could be used easily. Please consider starting food in our towns. Also, I have to thank the Climate Action Council because they actually have a new program. They have chosen 5 schools in Monroe County that will receive grants to work on compost projects. It's not rocket science. It can be done by students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I begin ranting and raving, I'd like to say that it's particularly privileged to be here tonight to hear the legislature honor the lives and achievements of my high school classmate, Vic Saunders, and my longtime friend, Kevin Beckford. Last month, as a legislator of whom I sometimes find fault with, expressed her concerns about the extension of the contract with Servius to provide provide prisoner communications at the jail. I agree with most of what she said, but I'd like to add a couple of points. The Sheriff's Department and the administration have known for 4 years that the contract expired on April 30th, 2025, yet they waited till May to bring it urgently before the legislature. I didn't hear an explanation for that. Second, the sheriff's representative used saving taxpayer money as an excuse for the high fees charged to prisoners for communications. I remind her that user fees are taxes and generally among the most regressive, particularly when people are taxpayers precisely because they can't afford bail or bond. We know when this extension expires. Let's get it to the legislature in enough time they can do proper oversight next year and in a way that is fair to the presumptively innocent people whom we are holding captive. Thank you and have a good night.
Yes.
How you doing? I'm Sarge from Combat News. Leaders and decision makers must recognize the profound and often unseen challenges faced by many veterans, especially those in less fortunate circumstances. It's a fundamental error to assume that a veteran who has been through it automatically understands the current struggles of every other veteran. The reality is the boots on ground veteran advocates, those actively working in the trenches, navigating the realities of urban poverty and social isolation in places like Rochester. They possess an unparalleled understanding of what's truly going on. For us dedicated advocates, a simple issue like the absence of a bus stop at the local VA hospital is not just an inconvenience, it's a critical barrier to care, a symbol of neglect, and it directly impedes veterans' abilities to access life-saving appointments. While those comfortably living far from the city might dismiss this as a minor logistical hurdle, for a veteran without a car, the mobility issues, or facing financial hardship, the lack of accessible public transportation to the VA can mean missing vital care, exacerbating existing health problems, or even spiraling into further crisis. It is imperative that decision makers put aside preconceived notions and genuinely listen to those frontline advocates. Their pleas are not abstract. They are grounded in daily realities of vulnerable veterans, and their insights offer the most direct path to creating effective, equitable, and truly supportive systems for all who have served. Combat News just wants to help leaders make the best decisions for us veterans. Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Paul Forcella, Steve Lisinko, and Kathy Quinones.
In the movie Gremlins 2, an evil company tries to take advantage of a wise old man, invading his space. This is very near reality. Don't trust companies. The vast majority of them are dishonest and are only looking out for themselves. Regulators of companies are often dishonest and are only looking out for themselves, for the companies they regulate often. Companies and their regulators must be monitored and investigated as much as possible. Burger King is a liar. Their lying slogan, "Have it your way," is a lie. Only Burger King matters to Burger King. Insurance companies are only looking out for themselves. If a customer has a difficulty due to bad weather, the insurance company will likely ditch the customer. This happened a few years ago. Churches are not-for-profit companies and often are dishonest and don't practice what they preach often, especially Roman Catholics. Catholics administrations are willing to cover up abuse and not give proper compensation to victims of abuse. Don't waste your time on these liars. Don't trust companies no matter what they say.
Good evening. My name is Steve Lysenko, a lifelong resident of Monroe County and proud friend of Ron Garl, founder of the Indigenous Peoples Center, from whom you will hear later. I am here to advocate for the daily flying of the Haudenosaunee flag over the Monroe County office building, as well as at all public buildings throughout the county. We are currently standing on Haudenosaunee land. This land was not bought from the Haudenosaunee people, nor ceded by them. Rather, through genocide, forced assimilation, and broken treaties, this land has been stolen from this Indigenous people. The flying of the Haudenosaunee flag over the county office building could be an important step toward righting this centuries-old injustice. Symbolically, it would be a visible acknowledgement of a people who are far too often invisible, or who only exist to the dominant race when depicted in dusty museum dioramas or tired old history books. The Haudenosaunee are a living people with a vibrant and rich culture that has left its fingerprints upon the very fabric of our nation, from the U.S. Constitution to the names of rivers, valleys, towns, and cities that dot our landscape. The flying of the Haudenosaunee flag could also be an opportunity to have honest conversations about the complicated history of our state and of our nation. American author Pearl Buck said, "If you want to understand today, you have to search yesterday." Flying this flag and engaging in these discussions could be a chance to teach and learn an untaught history and culture, warts and all. Lacrosse, hoop skirts, Indian boarding schools, the Sullivan Campaign, and burnt corn soup. Not for the purpose of causing division or guilt amongst white folk. Rather, this will support all people in better understanding how we got here and how best to forge bonds of friendship and mutual respect with the Haudenosaunee. This, in turn, may also put us back on a path to be in a proper and right relationship with nature. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of Monroe County. My name is Kathy Quinones. I'm proudly representing the Latino Military Coalition, and I have an extreme passion to help veterans. I'm here to urge you to take immediate action to reactivate the RTS bus stop at the V8 outpatient clinic on Calkins Road. Our coalition began a petition in support of this effort. As of today, we have collected over 660 signatures, many of them accompanied by heartfelt comments from veterans and residents who rely on public transportation to access their medical care. I want to acknowledge that, yes, transportation services are currently available, such as vets driving vets and DAV transportation services. However, they are limited, volunteer-based, and require 48 plus hours of notice, a time frame that simply does not work when appointments are rescheduled by providers or a veteran needs same day or, God forbid, emergency care. This is precisely when a reliable, fixed route RTS bus stop becomes not just convenient, but critical. The nearest available stop is at Marketplace Mall, which is a 1.6-mile walk, which takes 37 minutes. Veterans must walk through in Highland and Calkins, and there is a portion, several portions where there's absolutely no sidewalk on either side of the roads. This is not only inconvenience, it is a safety hazard. We have front door service to all the major hospitals as well as urgent cares, etc. Why is the VA clinic the exception? Why are our veterans being forced to risk their lives to reach the care they have earned? Our veterans deserve more than assumptions. We cannot assume that they are able-bodied, have reliable transportation or volunteer services can roll in this as needed. This is a matter of public safety, of equal access, and most importantly, of respect for those who have served. I implore you to please reactivate the RTS bus stop at the VA clinic. Do it for our veterans and do it because it's right. Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Abdul Bounds, Kevin Lockhart, and Jack Spula.
Hello, everybody. Of the 59 pages in the county legislature directory that I believe you're all familiar with, 58 and a half of them outline town and village offices in Monroe County, and 1/2 of a page outlines the city positions. This presents a huge liability in Monroe County as the city of Rochester has become a major problem. 200,000 minorities live in Monroe County who are deprived of their rights under color of law in the city of Rochester Corporation. Just because people in the city cannot elect town or village committees. We know them as LD 16 through 29. They are Charlotte, Maplewood, Lyle Lotus, the 19th Ward, Upper Falls, Beechwood, Cobbs Hill, Strong, and Highland. This structure of ancient, outdated government leads to turmoil in places like Charlotte because the city is unable to manage its neighborhoods and election districts. Which is kind of why we're trying to come up with issues. We need to make the taxpayers of Charlotte whole again by restoring their status as stakeholders of Monroe County and not simply human assets to be held in trust by the city of Rochester Corporation. When Charlotte was annexed by Rochester in 1916 against the will of taxpayers, it turned the taxpayers into minorities under law. Charlotte predates the village of Rochester by 20 years. We need to make the citizens of Charlotte whole again by creating a village under the Monroe County and annexing them from the city of Rochester. Thanks.
Thank you for this chance to speak. I'm here to endorse the 24/7, 365-day a year flying of the Haudenosaunee flag. I think it's something, it's a small gesture perhaps, but it will make a lot of difference in terms of how people feel about the county of Monroe. You know, of course, that the Haudenosaunee provided inspiration and guidance to colonial leaders as they imagined and created a nation. The U.S. borrowed some ideas and symbols, but left out the participation of women and true equality for all. But we've caught up a little bit, I think, since the early days. A long way to go. The Hiawatha Wampum Belt, which is pictured on the Haudenosaunee flag, symbolizes the peaceful unification of 5 formerly warring nations, Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, and Mohawk, into the Confederacy. And the Tuscarora Nation joined in the early 18th century to make it the 6 nations. I think that it's, there have been some questions raised in public, at least I've heard them out there, that there's some question about flying the flags of nations other than the United States at the county building. Not sure if that's true. I don't know if there are regulations to that effect. But I think that if you're considering the Haudenosaunee flag, you're talking about something that is special. It is unique because it's the flag of the sovereign nation whose territory as you've heard, still unseated, is beneath this very building. So let's give it the respect that it deserves. Thank you.
Our next public forum speaker is Ronald Garrow.
Seguego Laelun Dio Yunya Chakosas Ninarun Hodnoshoni Kanygeha Waxclewage Nyagoa. My name is Ronald Garrow. I am the founder of the Indigenous People Center here in Rochester. I was in the other day, I couldn't help but notice that the Haudenosaunee flag was no longer flying. I guess I was under some misunderstanding. I thought it was going to be up there, and it wasn't anymore. It's not the first time there's misunderstandings between the indigenous people of this land and government. I'm sure it won't be the last. So I'm not sure that everybody knows about the symbolism of that flag that was flying. Jack shared some with you, but I can tell you the story about the peacemaker who came. He told you about the warring Five Nations that were here long before the colonizers came. The peacemaker came from across the lake and he landed right here in Rochester, in Durand. And he traveled these lands talking to the warring Five Nations, and he had a call for disarmament, and he spoke of peace and unity. And the Haudenosaunee Confederacy came together with those words, and we formed the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and that is what that flag represents. It represents peace, unity, and disarmament. And we have been self-governing for long before the colonizer came. Benjamin Franklin came to live with us and live among us, and he studied our ways, and he went back to the founding fathers of America, and he said, if these savages can govern themselves, then so can we. And they took our great law that we learned from the great peacemaker, and he used the words of our great law to form the United States Constitution. And that's where you got your government from. Thank you very much. Y'all go.
Thank you. Thank you for that opening.
This concludes the public forum.
Thank you. At this time, we will recess the June 10th, 2025 meeting of the Monroe County Legislature and will convene the Rochester Pure Waters District of the Pure Waters Administrative Board. Mr. Clerk, please note the attendance and read the first item on the agenda.
You have agenda item number 1, referral 25-0155, authorizing contract with LaChase Construction Services for agency construction management services for Northwest Quadrant WRRF, electrical, aeration, and preliminary treatment improvements projects.
Move it, Madam President.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Hughes-Smith, seconded by Legislator Maffucci. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
You have agenda item number 2, referral 25-0174, authorizing alteration of Rochester Pure Waters District sewer assets by New York State Department of Transportation during New York 33A Chile Ave over Erie Canal Bridge Project, Town of Gates, City of Rochester, Town of Gates and City of Rochester, Monroe County, PIN 4077.31.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Burgess, seconded by Legislator Maffucci. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
You have agenda item number 3, referral 25-0176, authorizing alteration of Gates Child Ogden Sewer District sewer assets by New York State Department of Transportation during New York 33A Child Ave over Erie Canal Bridge Project, Town of Gates and City of Rochester, Monroe County, PIN 4077.31.
Second.
Moved by legislator Burgess, second by legislator Maffucci. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Item carries. Next item. We will actually now recess the Rochester Pure Waters District, Gage Chili Ogden Sewer District, Rondequoit Bay South Central Pure Waters District, and the Northwest Quadrant Pure Waters District, and adjourn the Pure Waters Administrative Board. And at this time, I'll now reconvene the June 10th, 2025 meeting of the Monroe County Legislature. We'll now proceed with the consideration of local laws. Will the clerk please read the first item on the agenda?
Item number 1, referral 25-0134.LL, providing that local law entitled Waiver of Residency Requirement for Attorneys Employed by Monroe County be lifted from the table.
Moved by legislator Barnhart, seconded by legislator Baynes. This is to lift from the table. All in favor? Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 2, referral 25-0134.LL, providing that local law entitled Waiver of Residency Requirement for Attorneys Employed by Monroe County be adopted.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Barnhart, seconded by legislator Baynes. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed?
Opposed.
Just the one,
Yes,
26-1.
item carries. Thank you. We'll now proceed with the consideration of motions, resolutions, and notices. Will the clerk read the next item on the agenda?
Madam President,
Yes, legislator Yulison.
I move that we consider the entire agenda as a whole with the exception of items number 6, 7, 13, 40, 45, and 46.
Moved by legislator Udelson, seconded by legislator Brew to move the agenda with the exceptions of 6, 7, 13, 40, 45, and 46. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. We now go to item number 6.
Item number 6, referral 25-0156, authorizing contract with CNS Engineers for professional design services for the MCC Downtown Campus Career Center project.
Move it, Madam President.
Second.
Moved by legislator Hughes-Smith, seconded by legislator Baynes and Maffucci. Is there any discussion? Legislator Barnhart.
Yes, thank you. Through the president to the administration, the legislature authorized $14.5 million for this project, correct?
Through the president, that is correct.
Through the president to the administration, can you confirm that in Ways and Means, it was explained that this contract is about 2% of the total budget for schematic design, and that the total design contract is expected to be up to 15% of the project cost?
Through the president, that is correct.
Thank you. I would just like to explain my vote. I'm supportive of this project, but I do think that in the transmittal letters, which are the public record, it's what the public sees that we're voting on, that it contain the total project cost and what the total estimated contract will likely be. I think the way it's presented to us is misleading. So I will be voting yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 7, referral 25-0157, authorizing contract with Popley Architecture and Engineering, doing business as Popley Design Group for professional design services for a county clerk's office renovations COB project.
Move it, Madam President.
Second.
Moved by legislator Hughes-Smith, seconded by legislator Maffucci. Is there any discussion? Legislator Barnhart.
Through the president to the administration, the legislature authorized $2.5 million for this project, correct?
Through the president, yes, that's correct.
Thank you. And through the president to the administration, I just want to confirm that in the Ways and Means meeting, that it was said the total design could be up to 10%. The total design contract could be up to 10% of that $2.5 million.
Through the president, to clarify, I explained at that point that design generally is between 0 and 15% because this is less complex than the other project. I expect it to be at 10%, but that's not to say it would not get up to 15%, but I said 10%.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And just to explain my vote, as in the last resolution, I think these transmittal letters should really say what the total project cost is and what the total design cost could be. It's okay. Even if the legislature were to authorize up to a certain amount, there's no harm done if we don't spend all of that money, but at least the public and fellow legislators will have an idea of exactly what we're voting on. So thank you. I will be voting yes.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Item carries. Item number 13.
Item number 13, referral 25-0161, authorizing grant contracts pursuant to American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA.
Move it. Second.
Moved by legislator Frazier, seconded by legislator Maffucci. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baynes.
The funds in this referral, for instance, the $664,000 for the Housing Council to provide down payments, will all of those funds flow through to the beneficiaries in the community, or are some of those funds, through you, Madam President, some of those funds for administration of the grant?
Through the president, a portion of that is for administrative cost.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Through the president, a portion of that is for administrative costs.
So what portion, for instance, of the $789,000 for the 8 properties in the Josana neighborhood, what portion of that would go to administration?
Through the president, I don't have that breakdown with me, but we can get that to you.
Thank you. Through you, Madam President. If we take a look at some of the numbers for the Housing Council down payment program, the referral letter refers to the $664,000 that will go to 13 down payments. So if all the money were used for the down payments, it would be $51,000 each. Now let's assume that the overhead costs are knock that down, by 20%. It's still $40,000. So my question is, how do we guarantee the equity in the way we select the 13 folks who are going to get, in my case, the hypothetical case here with a 20% overhead, a $40,000 down payment?
Through you, Madam President, there are 2 different projects. The $664,000 is for down payment and closing cost assistance, buyers up to $30,000. The projects through the Josana neighborhood is a different project.
Through you, Madam President, I understand that the roots, the Josana neighborhood program is totally different. I'm just, as an example, talking about, let's just talk about 2 programs. We have the $250,000 for repairs. Some of that's going to go to overhead. We've got the $664 for the Housing Council for down payments. Some of that's going to go to overhead. But there are only 8 homeowners benefiting from the $250,000. And my question is, what 8 and how are they selected and how are we sure that there's equity and access and fairness in the way those 8 are selected?
Through you, Madam President, each home buyer that qualifies would qualify for up to $30,000 of down payment and closing cost assistance. And the Housing Council is actually planning on supporting 20 home buyers through that program. And each home buyer would have to be income qualified, attend pre-purchase counseling, be financially prepared, as well as be able to identify a property to qualify for the down payment and closing cost assistance.
Through you, Madam President. So in the event that for the 8 folks getting the rehabilitation funds and the 13 getting the down payments through the ARPA grant, how do we reconcile when there are more people qualified who seek it than there are grants?
Through you, Madam President, the home improvement program for the 8 homeowners would come through a first come, first serve application process. They would be income qualified. Their properties would have to be identified for eligible expenses and select a contractor to be able to do the work in the house.
Through you, Madam President. I don't think I'm making myself clear, though. I'm trying to get to the point of all of that you're describing has happened. And we have 20 worthy individuals who qualify. How do we select the 8? That's my question.
Through you, Madam President, there's a limited supply of contractors in the area and also the ability for the work to be completed by the time the grant is completed. Our subcontractors only able to complete 8 in that proposed timeline.
Through you, Madam President. I feel terrible. I feel like I'm badgering you, but I don't see how you're being responsive to what I'm asking.
Through you, Madam President, each applicant per project is a first come, first serve basis.
Any other questions?
I'm sorry, did you say a first come, first serve?
Yes. There it is. Yes.
That's what I was trying to get
Yes,
at. All
there it
right.
is.
I didn't hear. Thank you very much, Madam President. I yield.
Thank you very much. Legislator DiFlorio.
Thank you, the President, State Administration. Clarification purposes. I believe you mentioned that the Housing Council is capstone. We've now increased the number of home buyers for that program to 20. Is that correct?
Through you, Madam President, yes.
So the President having one answer modify this resolution because within the resolution it said 13.
That's the eligibility for the organization. Passive for the organization.
Chief Deputy County Attorney Brendan Fleming, through the president, in response to legislator's question, the resolution as written would authorize the contracts with the entities named in attachment A. The descriptions of the projects, including the number 13 in the Housing Council description, are not binding. The name of the binding piece of the resolution is the names of the entities set forth in the resolution and then described in attachment A. So it's not necessary to make an amendment. The legislature, this honorable body, could choose to do so if it would like.
Sure. $414 will go to 20 individuals that only, my math is correct, approximately 54,400 will go to overhead as opposed to 13 first-time home buyers, which only comes out to about $390,000. That's a huge difference in what we're offering.
Oh, broken. Not Bob's problem.
Well, sorry about that. Through you, Madam President, right, the action here and the action for all of these items are authorizing a contract. The details of that contract are not what's being authorized. It's the concept, as Mr. Fleming said, what we're doing here. We have publicly stated that our goal and what the contract language will be 20 houses. And again, this would be the same concept that we do with every other contract that comes before this body. Through you, Madam President, yeah, we would not be able to do a contract before we had the authorization to do the contract.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Yes, Legislator Barnhart.
Thank you. I would like to explain my vote. I'm very supportive of the use of ARPA dollars for these projects. However, I think Legislator Baynes and DiFlorio's questions go to the heart of something I'm about to say. And something I pointed out in Ways and Means, but I think that all of the legislators here should know this. So if you take a look at what we're voting on the Rochester routes, there's no such entity called Rochester routes. So while I'm researching these projects, I'm thinking, what the heck is Rochester routes? I couldn't find a nonprofit that does housing in Rochester named Rochester routes. So I asked the administration to see the application for this Rochester Roots project. You know what it says on the very first page? It's an $11 million project from the Rochester Land Bank for multiple houses. This doesn't say that. I don't think it's asking too much to say who's getting the money when we vote on something like this. What is the total project amount? What is the county's contribution to the project? And as Legislator Baynes pointed out with the administrative costs, it wouldn't hurt to say, hey, these are the soft costs, the administrative costs, the construction costs. This is just a really deficient way to present information to us. We actually have no idea what we're voting on. And again, I'm supportive of these projects and was able to research and find out enough that I'm comfortable, except on that one. And I think that the difference between what was on that first page and what you presented to us is really alarming. So I respectfully request that when you put things before us to vote, again, total project cost, county's contribution, a breakdown of those costs. I just don't think that's asking too much. So I am voting yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Item carries. Next item. Which is.
Item number 40, referral 25-0189.BR. Resolution authorizing the issuance of $350,000 bonds of the County of Monroe, New York to finance the cost of the construction of a 9/11 First Responders Memorial at Highland Park in Merced County at an estimated maximum cost of $350,000 and superseding the bond resolution adopted on November 14th, 2023, resolution number 330 of 2023.
Second.
Okay, moved by Legislator Baynes, seconded by Legislator Vasquez Simmons, Hughes-Smith, Maffucci, and Dondorfer. And McCabe, but Mr. Clerk,
I got it.
you got it. Thank you. Did you get?
I got Legislator McIntyre as
Yes.
well. Anybody else want to second that?
All right.
All right,
thank you.
Legislator Colby, thanks.
Any discussion? No, this is to adopt, right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Legislator DiFlorio.
For the project, like to know if we have, the line item.
Legislator, is your mic on? Is it on green?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Stay in here.
Budget for ongoing maintenance. Not only this, but all of our oil and such.
Through the president, the Parks Department will absorb the cost to maintain this infrastructure in perpetuity. Through the president, we do have partnering organizations that assist with ongoing maintenance for the Vietnam Veterans Memorial and with the War on Terror Memorial.
Thank you. The administration, the time is that we build Memorial Island Park and then get partnering over time are not able to maintain each membership, et cetera. Memorial Park falls their seat and several of the memorials throughout the park. So if I need to this opportunity to express that, and I appreciate the fact that you're doing it for the memorial, that if we could somehow take a look at the top budget and what we're affected by that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, just.
Item number 45, referral 25-0220, amending 2025-2030 capital improvement program to advance the Ontario Beach Park Master Plan Improvements Project from 2026 to 2025.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Baynes, seconded by Legislator Hughes-Smith. Vasquez, Simmons, and Maffucci, as well as Bonick, and myself. Is there any discussion? Yes, Legislator McCabe.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you to the administration, what specific public safety outcomes does the administration expect to achieve through the proposed capital project to install parking lot gates at Ontario Beach Park, and how will that success be measured?
Through the president, the project here is to install a series of 4 gates within the 2 parking lots that the county of Monroe maintains at Ontario Beach Park. This was a planned infrastructure project to be constructed in 2026. However, given our conversations with law enforcement agencies, which we have truly on a monthly basis at Ontario Beach and have had continuous conversations throughout the years, we have moved forward at the county executive's direction to put forth this project this year. This will allow park staff to close those lots that are associated with the park at 10 p.m., which will assist law enforcement at their request, truly, for a project such as this to be able to prohibit vehicles from entering those lots when the park is closed.
So to be clear, through the president, as a follow-up on that, so there'll be no entry after 10 p.m., but they'll be able to depart after 10 p.m.
Through the president, that is correct.
Okay.
There will be one egress location, which will be automated to allow individuals who were in the parking lot, frequenting local establishments, who parked there to be able to egress without having to call any park staff or law enforcement agency.
Thank you. And there were reports over the weekend that there were drop-offs from the park were separated through the president to the administration. Reports that from the park were separated to east and west. Has the administration formally engaged RTS leadership to assess whether more actions can be taken to prevent the pattern of violence at the park or in our transit system?
Richard Tantello, Director of Public Safety. We most recently held a stakeholder meeting, and representatives from the Rochester Police Department have contacted RTS leadership to develop a strategy and plan to be able to monitor the traffic, in particular the RTS traffic in and out of that area during special events.
Thank you. And through the president to the administration, how does the administration plan to evaluate whether the infrastructure only solutions such as the parking lot gates we've discussed are effective in reducing violence or simply creating the appearance of action?
Through the president, we'll continually evaluate that. It's really a matter of every target hardening opportunity that we have to evaluate that success. I think one of the keys to this particular project is the fact that we've engaged stakeholders, which included, as was mentioned, the law enforcement community, but also the business community in the Charlotte area, so that we can continually meet with them. We've all agreed to have a follow-up meeting with them on a regular basis so that we can continue to monitor and evaluate.
And my last question through the president to your administration, can the administration commit to providing the legislature with quarterly public safety updates for Ontario Beach Park during the summer months, including data on arrests, emergency calls, and crowd management interventions?
Through the president, we certainly would be willing to do that. We're going to have to rely on our law enforcement partners to provide that data to us. But certainly, I think that would be very much welcomed by all involved in our committee.
All right. Thank you very much. I yield.
Yes, Legislator Barnhart.
Thank you. Earlier today, I read several analyses from national law enforcement agencies about these types of situations with groups of teenagers who are being disruptive. And they all say that police-only solutions don't really work. And I really like the idea of the parking lots, but I'm wondering if you've engaged any local anti-violence groups like Pathways to Peace to have a presence down there, or what the status might be of those kinds of talks. You mentioned stakeholders. I was hoping perhaps they were part of it.
Through the president, can you repeat the question for me, please?
Sure, I'll be more brief. I'm wondering if you've engaged stakeholders like Pathways to Peace or other anti-violence groups that work with teenagers to have a presence at that park.
Through the president, we have not. We are relying on the partnerships that we have with law enforcement to bring those additional resources in, and to work towards that. At this particular point, I think we can get the referral approved, if I may say that, so that we have the infrastructure in place and then continue to build upon what other resources we can use there.
Thank you. I'd encourage you to do that. Through the president to the administration, can you describe the technology that you'll be using at the entrance and exits? What are these gates, just your rudimentary gates that you manually close, or are they automated?
Through the president, there are a total of 4 gates to be installed. One will be a slide, which will be manually slid to one egress. There will be 2 swing gates to be installed. Again, manual gates, which will be locked. And there will be 1 automated gate. The automated gate, which will require power, will open once a vehicle. Think of this as a traffic control device where you pull up and the traffic control device registers that a vehicle is there to turn the sequencing for the light. It will be the same. As your vehicle pulls up, the inductant loop will trigger the gate will open. Just note that the gate will be for egress only. It will be just the width for 1 vehicle.
Got it. I think based on this answer, you probably answered my next question, but I'll ask anyway. Through the president to the administration, my final question is, given the fact that we are installing gates, has there been any discussion of charging people to park in those lots?
Through the president, there has not.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any other questions? Yes, Legislator Morris.
Madam President. All right. I won't have to bat through the order here on this side. Second one works fine. Thank you, Madam President. Through you to the administration, was a formal safety audit or risk assessment conducted to support this investment in infrastructure? And if so, I would ask that assessment to be made available to the legislature and the public.
Through the president, there was, and that can be provided.
Thank you. Again, Madam President, through you to the administration, what coordinated security strategy is in place between the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Rochester Police Department, and New York State Police to proactively prevent violence at Ontario Beach Park and surrounding areas?
Through the president, at the direction of the county executive, we established a working group and brought all of our stakeholders together, specifically with law enforcement, but other resources as well. Allowing the law enforcement agencies to develop their strategic plan or an incident action plan and how those resources will be deployed.
Thank you. And again, Madam President, through you to the administration, are law enforcement agencies utilizing tools like drone surveillance, mobile command posts, or real-time social media monitoring to anticipate and respond to large organized gatherings that have previously turned violent?
Through the president, a variety of resources will be used depending upon the circumstances. So for example, if we encounter obstacles with weather, there may be not the ability to use some of those resources, but certainly the public safety is primary to this whole effort, and every resource that we have available to us, and especially to law enforcement, we will use.
Thank you. Final question. Again, Madam President, through you to the administration. Following the recent incident where crowds transported from the park via RTS caused further disruption at the downtown transit center,
What interagency planning is being done to prevent these disturbances from spreading through the transit system?
Yes, I rule with your point of order.
I would appeal the ruling of the chair or the ruling of the president.
Okay. A vote on that? No, thank you.
That was moved by Legislator Morrison. Who was the second?
Seconded by Legislator McCabe.
Yes sustains the rule of the president. Mr. Udelson. Mr. Udelson votes yes. Mr. Brew. Mr. Brew votes no. Ms. Barnhart. Ms. Barnhart votes no. Ms. Bartholomew McCoy
Just not here.
is excused. Mr. Baynes. Mr. Baynes votes yes. Mr. Blankley. Mr. Blankley votes yes. Ms. Bonnick. Ms. Bonnick votes yes. Mr. Burgess.
Yeah.
Mr. Burgess votes yes. Mr. Chardy. Mr. Chardy votes no. Mr. Colby. Mr. Colby votes no. Mr. Cruz is excused. Ms. Delvecchio Hoffman. Ms. Delvecchio Hoffman votes yes. Mrs. DiFlorio. Ms. DiFlorio votes no. Mr. Dondorfer. Mr. Dondorfer votes no. Mr. Frazier. Mr. Frazier votes yes. Ms. Hasman. Ms. Hasman votes yes. Ms. Hughes-Smith. Ms. Hughes-Smith votes yes. Mr. Johns. Mr. Johns votes no. Mr. Keller. Mr. Keller votes no. Mr. Long. Mr. Long votes yes. Mr. Maffucci. Mr. Maffucci votes yes. Mr. McCabe. Mr. McCabe votes no. Ms. McIntyre. Ms. McIntyre votes no. Mr. Milne. Mr. Milne votes no. Mr. Morris.
No.
Mr. Morris votes no. Mr. Sinclair. Mr. Sinclair votes no. Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith votes no. Ms. Vasquez Simmons.
No.
Ms. Vasquez Simmons votes no. President Roman.
Yes.
President Roman votes yes. 12-15, rule of the chair fails.
Okay. You can proceed to ask the question. I do believe it has been asked and answered.
I don't believe I heard, excuse me, Madam President, I don't believe I heard an answer to the question, but if I missed something, please, I can ask it again if need be.
Yeah, through the president, that's a particular issue that's being addressed by that law enforcement agency that is jurisdiction. I wouldn't be able to answer that.
Thank you.
You. Yes, Legislator Bell.
Thank you, ma'am, Madam President. Through you to the administration, a couple of other follow-up questions. And I want to applaud the group for the interaction that you're having in the planning. So some of this may be very quick, but we talked a lot about the gates. What additional security investments are being considered beyond the gate project, such as enhanced lighting, surveillance cameras, call boxes, or expanded law enforcement presence, if any?
Through the president, there have been a variety of different security upgrades at the park through the years. This is not an acute issue, but a chronic one that we have been managing for several years. We've converted all of the LED lighting throughout the park. We deploy 3 lighting towers adjacent to the parking lots each year. At the request of law enforcement, we've trimmed all of the trees to increase visibility throughout the park. At the request of law enforcement, we've mapped and wayfined all of the lighting structures within the park. At the request of law enforcement, we have installed new signage at all park entrances, which clearly states the rules and regulations of the park. As this honorable body knows, we changed the law for county parks, closing the parks at 10 p.m. as opposed to 11 p.m. This is to not conflict with scheduled shift change for the Rochester Police Department. We coordinate utility vehicles for probation and county security staff. We deploy camera systems within the park on an annual basis. We install seasonal fencing and permanent barriers and jersey barriers and planter boxes at all of the entrances, this to deter vehicles. In addition, we've invested millions of dollars in the park to attract and retain park goers, utilizing the park for park purposes. With regard to law enforcement, Chief, I'll turn it over to you, sir, if you'd like.
Through the chair. As stated earlier, this working group, I think, is going to be in existence for a longer period of time than maybe what's happened in the past. All of our partners are committed to making the park a safe and enjoyable site for everybody to be able to use.
Thank you, sir. Madam, through the president, to the administration, given the recent incidents involving individuals arriving via RTS buses, not private vehicles, how does gating the parking lot address the root cause of the actual points being used during these disturbances? And has there been any discussion with RTS asking for temporary modifications to RTS service routes or hours on high-risk days such as holidays, weekends, evening, nights, etc.?
Through the president, we've had very good relationship with RTS over the years, and I can say that from my own personal experience. The ability to work with them and help manage and work through a process is something that we need to do. It's been done in other areas, and we'll replicate that and work with RTS to be able to manage that in a manner that each and every stakeholder is aware of what their responsibilities and duties will be and how we can mitigate any further issues.
Thank you very much, sir. And my final question through the president to the administration, I think this would probably be to you, sir. Through this process, have we reviewed response times, arrest data, police reports from prior incidents to assess whether the level of current patrol presence is adequate? And with that, I'll yield the floor. Thank you. With that question, thank you.
Through the president, that was discussed during our stakeholders meeting, reviewing previous situations. We learned from what we have done in the past and what we can do to enhance that, because the facility changes, the officers and deputies and troopers change, and getting people familiar with the operation and what we can do differently. And that's was started the other day for this particular year, and will continue to grow and evolve over the remaining months.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions? Legislator McCabe. Legislator Baynes, thank you.
Thank you, Legislator McCabe. I appreciate that. I'd like to explain my vote. What I'm voting on is a referral that we already voted on, and we are advancing it by 1 year. It's already been planned. We're voting on security arms or traffic arms in a park in our county. We have them across from MCC, Frontier Field. They're all over the place. I'm not voting on the law enforcement philosophy, coordination, or anything else in Monroe County. That's not within the scope of this particular bill, nor is that within our purview as a legislature. We have a duty to do our due diligence around the question of spending this $200,000 and then the next referral, borrowing it. And so for that, on that issue and that limited scope, I'm enthusiastically voting yes. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Legislator Baynes. Any other questions? Legislator McCabe.
Thank you, Madam President. I just have one follow-up question on these parking lot gates. How do the gates end up addressing the root causes of the actual issues we're having? I mean, what do you foresee? Or because it seems like most of the problems are coming via the bus routes that have been reported in the media, the parking lot gates, are they going to truly make a difference at the end of the day to resolve the problems up at Ontario Beach?
Through the president, it's a mixture of occurrences that happen there, which can create incidents within the park. If it was 2020 or 2021, it would have been individuals in the parking lot drag racing, to which these gates would solve that by blocking the parking lots off. In this day and age, we have individuals in the parking lot and Chief can relay situations that have occurred in the parking lot that spill over into the park. And so it's at the request of law enforcement and the county executive that we move forward with a plan in an expedited fashion to secure those lots to inhibit any potential occurrences that originate from that parking lot and spill into the park.
Thank you. I appreciate, I yield.
Any other discussion? Yes, Legislator Vasquez.
Thank you. I'm thrilled we're moving forward with the master plan to install the gates. It was very concerning to see the videos and images that surfaced from the recent events at Charlotte. Charlotte is a family-friendly destination. But I do believe that in order for us to immediately address some of the concerns from our community and from the businesses, it's important that we do engage anti-violence groups. And I'll take this further to add adjacent school districts. You know, now that school is letting out for exams, students will be out. They have access to RTS, unlimited RTS rides. So we want to make sure that we're mindful and that we're intentional with our funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, I do have a few comments myself. So I do believe that the response to Lake Ontario Beach Park is a multifaceted approach at a problem to ensure that our community is able to continue to utilize the beach. It is very family friendly. I really want to ensure that we aren't diminishing a beautiful asset in our community where approximately, I don't have the statistics, but I'll say 95% of the time the park is welcoming. I was there Wednesday night with my own family, my 5-year-old. We had a phenomenal time in the park. Unfortunately, it's that 5% of the time that we are trying to address. And I really want to thank the administration for continuing to work alongside the community to seek solutions, one of them being these gates. As was mentioned, this is not a conversation that started, yesterday or last week. It's been multiple years, and I truly appreciate the responsiveness of moving forth this particular project in the park. With that being said, I do have a question. With the hopefully acceptance of this amendment to our CIP and this project, is there a set timeline for the implementation of these gates?
To the president, we have engaged several of our term contractors for conversations with regard to the expediency of the project itself. We are still efforting that, of course, based on the vote here this evening. Ultimately, it is our goal to install the gates as soon as possible.
Thank you. And I think that is the only question that I have. Any other discussions? No? Okay, with that being said, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 46, referral 25-0220.BR. Resolution authorizing the issuance of $200,000 bonds of the County of Monroe, New York, to finance the cost of the Ontario Beach Park Master Plan Improvements Project in and for said county at an estimated maximum cost of $200,000.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Baynes, seconded by Legislator Hughes-Smith, Vasquez, Simmons, and Maffucci. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. There being no unfinished business, Legislator Udelson.
Madam President, I move that we stand adjourned until 6 p.m. on Tuesday, July 8th.
Meeting adjourned.